Hi, this is Marlene Dinarius here from Latinum, the Latinum Institute, and you can find me at Patreon, where I have a very large catalogue of audio courses and resources to help you to learn Latin to a high level. In this chapter, I'm looking at chapter 18 of the Janua Linguarum Reserata of John Amos Comenius, and I'll be reading it to you in Latin and in English. So here we go. From time to time, I'll have to explain the English to you as well, because this is the English of the 17th century, and the English also of Shakespeare. Some of it's even a bit earlier than that. Quadrupeda, four-footed creatures. Primum mansueta pecora, first, tame cattle. Et jumenta, and labouring beasts, beasts of burden, as you would say nowadays. Quadrupeda progenerant faetum vivum, four-footed creatures bring forth live young ones. Aluntque lacte uberum, and nourish them with the milk of their udders. Grandiora unicum, the greater sort, but one, only one udder, et rarius, and more seldom. Minutiora plures, et frequentius, the lesser sort, that's of animal, and more often, they have more udders, and this is more often found. Pro integumento habent, for covering they have, vel pilos, either hairs, vel villos, or shaggy locks, vel lanam, vel wool, vel setas, or bristles, vel squamas, or scales. Pedes autem, the feet, either vel digitas, either are digitatos, are fingered, armatos unguibus, or armed with nails, ut canis, etc., as the dog, etc. It says here as the dog and the bitch, the female dog, but the Latin, canis, the reason why it has this in the English, is the same for male and female, whereas many other animals are distinguished in the form of the word. Well, ungulatos, or hoofed. Et quidem ungula, well, solida, and that either with a solid, a whole hoof, ut equus, as the horse, well, bifida, or cloven, split in two, ut bos, as the ox. Quaedam sunt cornuta, some are horned, carentque superioribus dentibus, and want the upper teeth, that means it lacks the upper teeth, quia materiaorum transit in cornua, because the matter, the stuff of them, passes into the horns. Well, that's an interesting theory, that the teeth have become horns. Quo circa ruminant cibum, wherefore they chew the cud, habentque quatuor ventriculos contiguos, and they have four contiguous little stomachs. Rumen, what's called the cud in English. Reticulum, the paunch. Echinum, the tripe. Omasum, the honey tripe, or the caul. Demumque intestina, and finally the entrails, the guts. Et adipis loco sebum, and fuet, tallow, instead of fat. quaedam sunt mansueta, some are tame. Sub hominum cura viventia pecora et jumenta, living under the care of man, as cattle and as labouring beasts. Alia ferocia sunt, others are savage, fierce. Ferrae refugientes hominem, wild beasts, flying from men. Quaesitanteque sibi ipsis pastum, seeking food for themselves. Et se abdentes per loca latebrosa, and hiding themselves in lurking places. Pecorum maximus est taurus, the largest of these domestic animals, the cattle, is the bull. Paleari pendulo notabilis, remarkable in the breed that he's talking about here, for his dangling dewlap. Vaca praegnans dicitur forda, a cow big with young, in other words pregnant, is called a cow with calf. Nondum faita juvenca, one that was never yet with calf is called a heifer, juvenca. Vitulus grandescens, a calf growing big. Buculus, a bullock. Well, bucula, or a steer. Minorum pecudum sunt, of the lesser, the smaller cattle, are oes lanosae, woolly sheep, cum agnis sub brumis et abrumis, with their sucking and weaned lambs. Arietibus, sorry, I don't know what's happening to my ability to speak at the moment. Arietibusque petulcis, this sometimes does happen, even when I'm just speaking English. Arietibusque petulcis, and the butting rams, qui vexati, who being vexed, arietant, do butt. Etsi cordibus mutili, although they are maimed of their horns. Quales sunt sectarii verveces, such are the gelt bellwethers. Hirsutus hircus, a buck goat. Castratione sit caper, by gelding, castration, is made into a cheverel. Hic et illic aruteo spectabilis, fit to be looked at for his beard, here and there. I have no idea what Comenius is going on about here. Goats do look nice with their beards, but I'm not quite sure what's going on. Maybe someone can tell me. Petulantes haidi, the wanton kids, the petulant kids. Circumcursitant capram, run about the she-goat. Setosi sunt porci, pigs, that is swine, are bristly, setosi. Qui nectum castrati, who, being not yet gelded, vocantur veres, are called boor pigs. Execti, being libbed or spayed. Maiales, barrow hogs. Porcelli, the little pigs. Sugentes scrophae sumen et colostrum, sucking the teats and boistings of the sow. Nefrendes, that have farrowed. Grease. De pulsi are mama, being weaned, pushed away from the mother. delici, they are shots. Jumentum est pecus operarium seu veterinum, a jument. That's a word we don't use in English anymore. A jament, I suppose you would say it in English pronunciation, is a beast for work or burden, carriage. Inter quae maximus gibosus camelus, amongst which the bunchback camel, we would say hunchback nowadays, I suppose, or humped back, is the greatest. Quo vehiculi vice utuntur, which they use instead of a vehicle, a wagon. Vic proximus equus. Next to this is the horse. Juba insignis, fair to see, goodly. Licet ferox, with his mane. And with his mane. Calcitrans, although fierce, mettled, wincing and kicking. Ephrenis et indomitus, unbridled and unruly. Domatur tamen, yet is tamed, broken. Ut cessori obtemperet, to obey his rider. Praesertim canterinus factus, especially being made a gelding. Ubi et hinire desinit, when he gives over neighing. Sed pandus acelus servit honori baiulando. But the shrinking, saddle-backed or bow-backed ass serves for the bearing of burdens. Ruditque, and brayeth, it brays, cum ab agassone vapulat, when he is beaten by the driver, the muleteer. Canes et feles sunt nobis custodes. Dogs and cats are our housekeepers. Illi pecoris, those of our cattle. Contra fures, against thieves. He penoris, these of our provisions, our victuals. Contra mures, against mice. So we have cats in the house to keep the mice away from eating all the food and stores and the provisions. And dogs are there on the farm to protect the cattle from being stolen. Canis enim prodit advenam latratu, the dog, or the bitch, betrayeth or discovereth the stranger by his barking. Improvideque apropinquantem mordet, and biteth him that unadvisedly draweth too near. Praesertim catenarius, especially being chained, what's called the ban dog. Well, ad minimum baubatur, or doth at least bark. Note the spelling of bark here, bach. C. Irrites, if you anger him. Diducto rictu ringitur, he gurns, or grins, with his chaps wide open. This word gurn, I haven't really seen much. I think it's still used a lot in Ireland. Gurning, apparently, I have been told, is something that people do when they take too many drugs. Anyway, si percutias, if you smite him. Quiritatur, he yelpeth, he whineth, he moaneth. Sed rapidus morsu, redit hydropobos, but being mad with a bite, he makes men to be afraid of water. That's rabies. Latrantes more catelore, catelorum, and to bark just like whelps, like puppies. So if you become rabid and you avoid water and you bark. Catus, the cat, per reptans angulos domus, creeping up and down the corners of the house. Odoratur ex muscerda, by the mouse dung, scents out mures, the mice. Quos muscipula non capit, which the mouse trap doth not take. Tum insidiose captat, then craftily catches them. Discerpit, tears them in pieces. Devorat, and eats them. Of course, your cat will only do this if you don't feed it too much. If you feed your cat too much, then it will get lazy and will stop hunting down the mice, and then the mice will eat your peas and your beans and your rice and your oats and all the other things in your house. So don't feed your cat too much, or it won't do its job. So that's that chapter. Latinum is primarily based at Patreon, and at Patreon all my audio materials and course materials are there. Many hundreds of hours of Latin recordings, course materials of various types. I'm busy producing a course at the moment which is a conversational course, which is very carefully designed to help you become a speaker and thinker of Latin. And there are two versions of this course. One is more simple and one is for more advanced students. And grammar is taught inside the course, but incrementally, bit by bit, and you're not expected to learn vocabulary, because whenever a word appears, you are given it, and then through the constant repetitions, you will just learn the vocabulary without having to put too much effort into it. The focus is on the language itself and the implicit learning of grammar through producing Latin. I invite you to have a look. You can preview a lot of the material at Patreon. So if you do register as a free member, you'll still be able to get notified when I upload a new lesson, and will be able to at least listen to part of it without fully subscribing. So that's Latinum at Patreon, and there should be a link below the video, or you just go to patreon.com and search for Latinum and you will find me there.